Remember when I said that I took 3 7 trains in one day? Well, all 3 trips are in this video. So I took one train from Woodside to Queensboro Plaza, and then the next train one stop over. And since that day, there were no trains going to Manhattan and no trains going to Queens on the 7 line, I basically took the E train back home. But the third trip is the one that I took earlier when I got off the Sim 10. Honestly, instead of taking the E train, part of me wished that I would have took the W train from Queensboro Plaza that day, because when I got off the E train later that day, I was wandering around the area trying to find the express bus stop to head back home to Staten Island. And basically by the time I got on the bus, the battery on my phone was really low. The bright side is that shortly after this video, you're gonna see an ATV short that of where I caught an R46N train. Honestly, it's kind of days like these where I would much rather a travelator system over a train system for traveling within a municipality. For instance, while on the night that I was actually working on this recording, I actually went on the My MTA app and was able to see, let's say for the sake of argument, you're taking the A train from Nostrand Avenue, my childhood station, to Fulton Street in Manhattan. Now, according to the My MTA app, that takes about 13 minutes to go from Nostrand Avenue to Fulton Street. But what's not included is about the 20 to 30 seconds it takes for the doors to open and close at each stop. Now, with a travelator system, that could basically remove the need to have trains going or passing by, so to speak, and everyone can move at their own pace, especially on a travelator that could probably go as fast as 25 or perhaps 30 miles an hour. Now, opinions may vary on the idea of a travelator system, because some may reason that yes, it may be a practical system, but some may feel that the subway train system fulfills the need to have more jobs, and I agree 100%. So let's say that the MTA doesn't approve a travelator system, then I would go with the next step, which is basically to have shorter subway trains. Now, at first glance, the idea of having shorter subway cars almost seems impractical, especially because the subway transports millions of people annually. But that's really based on a report before the COVID-19 pandemic. Even if global circumstances allows the World Health Organization and government officials to tell us that everything could go back to normal, we no longer need to practice social distancing and vice versa, things will not basically be the same anymore, especially for the train system. Why is that? The pandemic has caused many in-person activities to close or probably cease operation, whereas the ones that kind of still exist has basically changed its format, so to speak, where it relies more on people working from home instead of actually being at an office in person. Because there are less people actually traveling to work, that actually means that there are lengthy subway trains that barely have enough people. So how much shorter should each subway train be? Well, let's say there's a line, for instance, that normally had 10 subway cars per train. Instead of having lengthy 10-car trains, imagine these same lines just having 4-car trains. Now, why 4 cars instead of 5 cars in particular? Well, one possibility could basically result in having one train behind another. For instance, on the Lexington Avenue line, you could probably have probably a four train in front and a five train behind, basically on the same platform. Also, think about the Manhattan bound A and C trains. Normally, if a C train is ahead of an A train before reaching Hoyt Street, Schermerhorn Street, which I honestly had to research to pronounce it properly, and I don't know if I did. Anyway, normally a C train would stop ahead of time to wait for the A train to come ahead. Now, I'm not saying that having shorter trains will prevent it, but at least there's the possibility of the A train still going ahead of the train and the C train coming behind, which will give a greater opportunity for some passengers from the C train to transfer over to the express. And mind you, I only mentioned the possibility of with the system that currently exists. Think of the extended possibilities. Because there are shorter subway trains, that actually means that there will be some lines that would just have an overwhelming number of subway cars available to them. So that means that we could possibly have some lines that are known to have older equipment like the one train, the three train, and so on and so forth, actually have some of the newer subway cars available to them, which would be beneficial since many of the newer cars are equipped with communication-based train control so that trains could actually be closer to one another to save time waiting for a train. We could also have additional services open up. For instance, I remember checking out the track map for all of the commuter and subway lines in New York City. And I was able to see the possibility of possibly a peak hour express service for the one train, along with the possibility of probably extending the E line to Brooklyn and probably extending the C train to Rockaway Park, discontinuing the Rockaway Park shuttle, and basically alleviating service on the A train. Speaking of the A train, if they possibly extend the C and E lines, one thing I could possibly see is the MTA probably restoring and also connecting the both express tracks between Rockaway Boulevard and Broad Channel. But that's just one of the many possibilities that I could see, especially with the shorter subway cars, which could also eliminate the need for having too many service yards so that it wouldn't be a further expense to the MTA and so that the fare prices won't be too high for we passengers. What are your thoughts on what I've mentioned here? Tell me in the comments.